Mistress Vania Changes Jobs, Episode 13. It was early in the morning, and Grant Stoat was smoking his fourth cigarette of the day. He pined for Riko. He did not even know her name, so instead, when thinking about her, he called her my love. Stoat was not unusual. Almost all men are at some point in their lives completely irrational over a woman. More commonly, they are irrational over any woman who gives them so much as a sideways glance. As for the women who are overtly hostile, they are just playing hard to get, at least in the mind of the man who is on the receiving end of the hostility. As far as Stoat was concerned, Riko fell into the second category. She had given Stoat no positive signals of any kind. Far from being discouraged, Stoat had rationalized that since Riko was a woman, she did not know her true mind. It was a challenge to him that he might win her over. In many ways, Stoat and Roger suffered from a common problem. They overestimated how much attention women might pay to them. Neither of these men had much to offer, yet where hope was absent, delusion made a serviceable substitute. Stoat believed that the stars were aligned, and that with true commitment and purpose he could win Riko's heart. At the end of his night shift delivering pizzas, Stoat's brain was even more addled than usual. He made a vow to do whatever it took to impress Riko, to show her the real Grant Stoat, so that she might fall in love with him, as he had fallen in love with her. Stoat even decided that he would take a night course at community college if necessary. Without knowing it, Stoat was becoming a problem. Mistress Vania didn't like problems. "I would like to say that our new submissive is unusual," said Mistress Vania, looking at the ends of her long dark hair. "But I have not dealt with someone like him before. This may be reasonable behavior by his standards. I believe you are right, Riko. We have not thought this through. We must tread carefully. He is not rational." "He is the big one," said Riko simply. "They cannot be all like this." "I suspect they might be," said Mistress Vania, picking up her tablet computer to check the local news. "In theory, if we gave him unlimited food, I do believe we would kill him. And that is something I did not expect. I thought it was simply a case of poor diet and lack of exercise. But there is so much more. He's driven, and yet he eats like a mindless, unthinking machine." "He is the big one," repeated Riko, labouring the point. "We must keep him on the ground. He is too heavy to hang from beams like our old clients. No need for rope work, high risk for circulation, and respiratory issues." Mistress Vania became quiet as she read an article on her tablet. "I think we need to put Roger on hold," said Mistress Vania, handing Riko the tablet. "That woman has written another story for her ridiculous online newspaper." "What woman?" asked Riko. "You know," said Mistress Vania. "The woman who wrote that story about the jockey and the Lexus dealership. That story has caused us so much trouble with people thinking that we are somehow associated by way of our car. Now she has written a story about our new submissive. How she could have done this is beyond me, but she has, and now we have to deal with it." "How does she know so much?" wondered Riko, reading the story. There was a recent picture of Roger, provided by Hank. Also included was a link to the video of Riko dancing at the nightclub. "This Amanda Frost seems fixated with missing person stories," said Mistress Vania, clenching her fists. "She has followed the dangers of internet dating angle. It's ridiculous. He has been missing less than 24 hours. Go to the video sharing site and take down the link to your dancing at the nightclub. That's a good start. Then find out everything we can about this journalist. We need to nip this in the bud. It worries me greatly. Obviously Roger spoke to someone about his date with you. Now this journalist must have found a friend of his. Maybe this is the friend that put the whole stolen kidney idea into his head." "She was a journalist at one of the broadsheet newspapers in the city," said Riko, typing quickly on her laptop. She's also written 2 books on corruption in government and big business. She is not what I would expect to find in Hampton Shufti, said Mistress Vania, opening a packet of potato crisps. But then again, the internet is very disruptive. It's creating a lot of problems with the mainstream media. So many jobs lost. She may have been out of work and took the first writing job that came along. Little wonder she is searching for her next big story. This town must be driving her insane with boredom. Does this mean reconnaissance work? Asked Riko expectantly. Yes, said Mistress Vania. This article is a serious problem. Based on our experience with this jockey and his Lexus, I can only assume that people are reading this ridiculous newspaper. This means they may recognize you. Television coverage of the Tour de France is currently in progress. It's fueled the mania for riding. Take your bike. With your sunglasses and helmet, you will be hard to pick from all the other enthusiastic amateurs clogging up the roads. Meanwhile, I'll create a diversion. I need to know as much as possible about Amanda Frost. Amanda Frost checked her email. Again, there was a great deal of correspondence from the readers. The vast majority of it still related to Nick Dunn. The one important exception was an email from a free email address. There was no clue to the identity of the writer. It said, I fear something bad has happened to Roger. I saw your article. I don't know who to talk to. Can we meet at the Byzantine Coffee Lounge at 10 a.m. today? Amanda had never heard of the Byzantine Coffee Lounge, but soon found out it was only 10 minutes' walk from her office. The weather was mild, and she arrived at a rather sad-looking storefront building. The many shades of brown had accumulated the grime of years. Everything inside looked 2 decades out of date, as did the customers. The patronage was exclusively women over 60. Amanda went inside and ordered a coffee. There was only one kind. No cappuccino, latte or macchiato. The waitress pressured her to buy a pink cream cake that Amanda didn't really want. These long-time residents immediately picked Amanda as not being local. A number of them found convoluted and contrived ways to ask Amanda the nature of her business. Answering in vague terms, she failed to satisfy them. Eventually, the customers, appearing to work in combination, established that Amanda was the journalist who wrote all those nice Nick Dunn stories. It seemed they had all been following the stories through their smartphones. Convinced she may be meeting Nick Dunn for another interview, they all conspired to prevent Amanda from leaving, with the sole aim that they too may meet Nick Dunn. The author of the message and Amanda's only lead was Mistress Vania. Dressed in her lycra clothes she purchased at the gym, she passed by the coffee lounge unnoticed. With sunglasses on her nose and wireless headphones in her ears, she was just another jogger. The residents of Hampton Shufti were vigorous exercisers. Riko also used this fact to her advantage. She rode her bike to the office of the Hampton Shufti Standard. Her lycra outfit sported the advertising motifs of a top European cycling team. This was very popular. Everyone wanted to look like their cycling heroes. Riko was so good at so many things it seemed almost too obvious to mention that she also picked locks. Breaking and entering was something Riko did even when she was not interested in the contents of the building. She even went so far as to purchase locks and disassemble them in order to work out better ways of defeating their mechanism. The Hampton Shufti Standard door locks took Riko around 25 seconds to pick. She was not trying for speed. She was distracted, thinking about Roger eating the healthy pizza, and then the supreme pizza. The image was disturbing and lingered in her mind. Once inside, Riko worked quickly. Firstly, she noted down all the phone numbers that were in the redial of the desk phone. Next, she took a small digital camera and photographed all 20 used pages of one of Amanda's many notebooks. The trash contained nothing but chocolate bar wrappers. From her backpack, Riko took a small circular device. She then looked above her at the ceiling. She spotted in the center of the room a single round object. It was a smoke alarm. She took the chair and moved it into position underneath the smoke alarm. She then switched her own smoke alarm with the one that was currently installed. It was connected to mains power. She needed to replace the thin plastic bracket into which the alarm fitted. When the work was complete, it was unlikely anyone would notice the switch had taken place. Amanda was approached by many people in the coffee lounge. It was very difficult to decide if any of them were the contact she had arranged to meet. All of them wanted to talk. It was exceedingly frustrating. Eventually, Amanda gave up trying to make sense of the people around her. None of them seemed to know anything about Roger. None of them were the author of the email. She had been waiting in the cafe for 15 minutes. To Amanda, it felt like an hour. In her many years as a journalist, she had known sources to be very easily unsettled. She once met a source who gave her very valuable information. She had arrived at the agreed time, but he had watched her from afar for 90 minutes before he summoned up the courage to approach her. Amanda could wait for a while longer. While she was waiting, she would check her email on her phone. Most of them were from Horace. She sent short, businesslike responses to all of them. Her operation of the touch screen was swift and accurate. A woman in her 40s jogged casually past the window of the coffee lounge. She was running laps around the block. She would pass by every 5 or 6 minutes. With a cap and sunglasses and headphones in her ears, no one paid much attention. She was just another jogger. Having passed the coffee lounge, she would stop, send a text message on her phone, and then continue running. Riko felt her phone vibrate in silent mode. She checked the message. Amanda was still in the cafe. The office was the most likely place Amanda would be during the day. This made it the most dangerous place for Riko to visit. This was why the office was first on her list. She pulled the door shut, making sure she relocked it. She removed the thin rubber medical gloves that she had been wearing. Back on her bike, she got onto the road. The traffic was thin, and in most cases she was able to keep pace with the cars. It was a very good bike, with a carbon fiber frame, and she was a very good rider. She loved physical exercise, and she loved being fit. Quickly Riko moved from the high street and what Upton Shufti loosely called its central business district. She was now in suburban streets, and she had little trouble finding Amanda's current address. Hiding her bike behind some bushes, Riko made short work of the back door lock. A domestic lock was hardly worth turning the key. Riko cracked it in less than 15 seconds. It took her longer to get the lockpick tools out of their pouch. In Amanda's house, Riko replaced 2 more smoke detectors. It was the same procedure as before. Riko's phone vibrated again. She checked the message. Amanda was still in the cafe. This woman was hungry for information about Roger. Mistress Vania said that she would wait a very long time before giving up on a potential source. Riko was now focused on searching the house as carefully as possible. It was clear that Amanda had not been here very long. There was not a great deal to search. Mostly empty. She went through some bags and boxes. They contained nothing more than household goods. She had hoped to find more, and this part of her mission was very disappointing. Riko's eyes locked onto the large padlock. All locked doors and cupboards shouted to Riko for attention. This was the same door and lock Amanda had failed to open with her various sets of keys. Riko defeated it instantly, unhooked it, and slid back the bolt on the door. She turned on a small pen-sized flashlight and stepped inside. 5 minutes later, Riko re-emerged. Her expression was thoughtful. She relocked the door, the padlock set fast, with a loud click. Riko's phone vibrated again, with yet another message from Mistress Vania. Amanda had finally given up and left the cafe. Riko casually closed the back door. Relocking it, she smiled as she rode away from the house.